few years ago, 2016, we were expecting Britain to leave Brexit, leave and have a Brexit. They voted it in. But our writers have said that Help Israel, way back, Dr. Thomas said they can't be part of Europe. Brother Mansfield said the same. Many of the others have said the same, that they've got to leave because of what the Scripture states, that the Tarshian power, which is Britain, will ally with Sheba and Dedan and the merchants of Tarshish and the young lions thereof, and will have no part with the earlier part of the chapter which deals with Russia and Europe. So they've got to leave, and leave they did. They did, what was it, 2020? Exactly 70 years after the date they joined. 70 years and 3 months later. And the Scripture says they will be with them for 70 years. Isaiah chapter 24, verse 17 and 18. Well, this is what happened. This is going back a couple of years. But the EU is disintegrating before our eyes. There's Boris. And what's he forming? He's forming a group with the Commonwealth. Is that a big surprise to us? Of course it isn't. Moving away from Britain, joining up with Canada, Australia, New Zealand, United Kingdom, and forming a new group, CANZUK, Canadian, Australian, New Zealand, UK. What's that? Well, he said, let's embrace the Commonwealth instead. And that's exactly what he did, fulfilling again exactly what the Scriptures say to us, that the young lions will ally itself with Tarshish. And so here we can see some of the prime ministers. And here's a picture depicted back in the days of the First World War. There's Britain and the young lions coming to its support way back there. I put that picture in because they put a lion in it, which is what the Scripture states. Well, it's gone further than that. Now we aren't getting our equipment built in Europe, not France. We don't want our submarines built there. We want ones a little bit better than that. Let's get nuclear submarines. They have to be built in America. And so we're pulled out and we become further distance from Europe. And the consequence, a new group formed for military purposes, the AUKUS group, a defence pack. A wake-up call for Europe because we're distanced from them. They're going to have to look after themselves more than what was before. And so that break has taken place. And here in Europe, what about them? Well, here's one of the key leaders of Europe, the President of the European Commission, or the EU group. And she, Ursula von der Leyen, she said to her people, her factories particularly in Europe, some of them, I'm going to have to take control of your factory here and here and here and put them on a footing where they build weapons to defend Europe, to support NATO. So say you owned part of that factory, you had a few shares in it, what would you do? It's going to be taken over by the government. She said that, started last year. So what did they do? The owners, more often than not, sold up their shares, got the money. Instead of putting it in their pocket, they thought, well, where's a safer spot than Europe? They said, Britain. And this is what happened to the exchange rate. Early part of last year. Last year. That's right. So early part of last year, it grew dramatically as money came from Europe into Britain as they sold up their factories, some of them. So it was an incredible situation, how Britain has prospered out of that. So indeed, here we can see exactly what Scripture said. We know, don't we? Look at verse 13. Sheba and Dedan and the merchants of Tarshish, that's Britain, as we know, with all the young lions thereof. And that's the Commonwealth countries. And they shall say, out thou come to take a spoil, talking to Russia later when they come into the Middle East.